Hi, my name's Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found us. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Well, I have a question for you. And I always pretty much now start my podcast with a simple question. Are you a procrastinator? I just want to know. I mean, you can answer that yourself, but you know if you're a procrastinator. I could tell you right now, I was one of the biggest procrastinators you can find. In fact, if you look the word up in the dictionary, you just might see my face. Well, one of the reasons why I asked that question is because last year I decided to do something about my procrastination. After I've lost my wife, I decided that I wanted to make a lot of changes in my own life. And one of those things was procrastination. I'm a work in progress. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I still procrastinate on certain things like my laundry. Do I want to do it today or do it tomorrow? Sometimes it depends on what I'm doing in that specific day. I might put it off for the following day. However, I do know that procrastination is a common challenge for us all, not just for myself, but I know a lot of people out there who suffer with procrastination as I did. While it may provide temporary relief, procrastination ultimately hinders our personal and professional growth. I believe that. So, what should we do if we are one of those people who like to procrastinate? Procrastination, oh my goodness, I could tell you. I used to always put things off until the following day, the following week, the following month. And when it came to time to actually sit down and do what I needed to do, I still wanted to procrastinate. That's why I say if you look the word up in the dictionary, you could definitely see my face. Procrastination is one of those things where we may look at a task and say, this is not something I feel like doing right now. But I believe that sometimes when we procrastinate, we might also miss opportunities. Had we done what we're supposed to do, we might have been in a position to receive a different opportunity that might benefit us in our life one way or another. So I think procrastination needs to be dealt with. I think also when we procrastinate, I don't know about you, but with me, it increased my anxiety and stress levels, delaying tasks. It often leads to the last minute increasing stress. Oh, I got to get this done. I got to get it done. And who wants to really feel all that? I know I didn't. But I've done it. And people do this every day when it's time to go to work. People wait to the last minute. Oh, I'm not getting up. I'll wait. And they'll wait till the last minute and they rush out the door. That's a form of procrastinating instead of getting up at the moment and just do what you got to do because you're just putting off the inevitable. You got to get up. You got to go to work, right? So some of us procrastinate in that effort. And let me tell you something. There was a time when I used to do that as well. I didn't feel like getting up. I no longer do that. I just hear my alarm clock, man. I just get right up. That's it. I get up, turn all the lights on, and then I go to the bathroom, do what I have to do, and I'm making my coffee after that, and I'm getting my day on. And that is how I get up in the morning. I no longer, I'm gonna lay here 5 minutes because I feel worse when I do that. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel worse trying to get that little 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever, how many minutes it is that you're trying to, get. And I don't know about you, but me, I just feel worse. So I don't need the anxiety, I don't need the stress, and I don't need to be rushing because let me tell you, when you start to have the anxiety and when you start to rush, you start making mistakes too. And then if you're speeding because you didn't want to get up, you might also increase getting hurt or hurting someone else in a form of accident. And you know something? It's something that could have been avoided the whole time and you didn't have to rush. Only if you just got up when the doggone alarm clock rang, right? So think about that. These are things that you can tackle and do right now. And also, when we procrastinate, we rush, and I talked about that just a second ago. So if we're at work and you're trying to get stuff done, then maybe the quality of your work is suffering as well. Completing tasks at the last minute, or if you're late, it definitely results into a lower quality due to insufficient time for doing whatever it is that you had to do. And then what happens at that point? What? You damage your own reputation. How? Because you're messing up. You're giving shoddy work when you could have had the time to do quality work. So, even if you procrastinate, and some people do this depending on what type of job they have, and they miss deadlines or they're cutting it short, all your work suffers. Everything suffers. Procrastination really is terrible. And I ain't got to tell you, your productivity, it will suffer if you procrastinate and wait till last minute to do whatever it is. If it was a presentation that you had to do, if it was to get the boss the numbers that you promised that you would have in on time, and you might make mistakes on the numbers, especially if you're rushing. So procrastinate. Try to work on that. Because it's only going to make you look better if you do things in the time frame that you have. And then, what about your health? Some people procrastinate with their own health. You think about that, right? Oh, you know what? I don't have time to work out. But, I would have joined the gym, but I don't really have time. By the time I work all day and come on home and I got to fix dinner, I don't really feel like working out. I'll be so beat. I'll be so tired. So what I suggest, instead of putting your health off, because believe it or not, if your health goes and you go, what's the point, right? So I suggest, instead of putting or procrastinating working out, instead, since you come home and you're always tired, right? Work out 15 minutes before you even go out the house in the morning, before you even go to work. Do your workout then. Do 5, when you first start, just do 5 minutes. And I guarantee you're going to feel a whole lot better if you just start before you go to work. Before you even get in the shower in the morning, work out for 5 minutes, and you will definitely see an improvement. 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day. When you start get acclimated to working out in the morning and adding something new, and you probably go to 10 minutes a day. So what? Get it done before you go to work. No more procrastination. Change a little bit about your health, because here's what's going to happen. If you work on your health and you start working out early in the morning, and what the funniest thing happens when you start to really focus in and hone in on working out, and you see you're starting to feel a good benefit there. Now the funny thing happens. The wheels start turning. You just say, you know what? I want to eat a little healthier too. Yeah. All this starts to work, and the next thing you know, you want to eat a little healthier. So guess what? Now you're starting to eat good, you're starting to work out, and you have more energy. Wow! Who would have known, right? But if you procrastinate when it comes to your health, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to be around long. So don't procrastinate when it comes to your health. And when you start procrastinating and you start failing and not meeting your goals, guess what's going to happen? You're going to wind up losing self-confidence. Of course you are, because you're failing to meet your goals, and self-confidence will lead to negative self-imaging, and who wants to do and go through all of that? I know I don't. So you got to work on you And you got to work on your procrastination, because believe me, it's not just for work, it's your life we're talking about, right? So, how does one really work on their procrastination? Hey, Dave, you know what? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. So, I took a course a couple of years back on marketing, and they had this acronym, and it was called SMART, right? Specific, you have to have goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, right? So your goals had to have a clear process and provide you with the motivation and direction on what you need to do. So when we procrastinate, hey, sometimes we just can't figure it all out. Sometimes we might procrastinate on something that might feel a little overwhelming. And getting into shape is overwhelming for a lot of people. But what about hitting your clear numbers at work? That might seem overwhelming too. But if you basically, I would say, make your overwhelming, whatever it is that appears to be overwhelming to you, if you break those up into smaller steps and divide that large task into something that is manageable, into smaller little chunks that is manageable, I guarantee you can get past it. Smaller steps reduce the feeling of overwhelming, and you'll make your task a whole lot easier and more approachable at that. So break it up into smaller steps. Make it specific, right? That's what you want to do, right? So for me, and I'm going to go with, I had to work with my sales, and I'm going to use sales analogy because this is the one area that I had to actually work in. So when I had to create a schedule for myself, and I used to go out my house without a schedule and just go to a specific area, and I would walk into certain businesses, but that wasn't the way to do this. I should have had a plan. I should have had an area picked and specific places that I wanted to hit. And eventually I started understanding the importance of trying to do that. And I had to pretty much the day before plan my day with a detailed schedule, allocating time for each task and prioritize those tasks that ensured me to work efficiently and effectively with the time management that I had, right? So I knew that I was able to hit more businesses. I was able to talk to more people and shake more hands and introduce myself to more people, because why? I planned ahead of time. I planned a detailed route in which way I would go. And I make sure that I was able to speak to a lot of different people at that time, because why? I planned ahead and I executed that plan. And I make sure that that plan was specific and it was measurable and it was achievable. So I had to do this. I had to focus on my high priority task and my area of importance, so I can touch as many businesses as I can within a specific time frame, right? Because goals without a time limit is worthless. It's like a wishful thinking. So I had to do that. That worked for me. You have to find out what works for you. So in your task and being a procrastinator, just make sure that you take the 15 minutes the night before, plan out the day ahead, and tackle that. What is my most important priority? What are if you're in the sales, what is the most important thing? For insurance agents, it's, well, I got to get in front of people. So if it's a car dealer, he's got to make sure he's get enough people to come in so he can show a car, right? So you pretty much have to focus on your marketing, or you have to focus on how you're going to go about doing whatever it is, depending on whatever field you're in, and you have to prioritize your task. And completing tasks early reduces your stress, increases productivity, and before you know it, you're feeling better, you're healthier, you have more energy. Wow, this whole thing works together. It's when you're finally done with all of this, you'll notice that you're acting like a well-oiled machine. Everything clicks, everything starts to come together. And why I say everything should be time bound, because you want to establish firm deadlines. You want to make sure that you work with a sort of urgency, let's say. And that urgency, you have to make sure that you have enough time within that specific time, that you don't have any delays or anything like that. And I also want to say this. For me, I don't know about for you, but a lot of us, we use our phone for a timer or whatever. For me, I had to use like a stopwatch, not my phone. I had to use a stopwatch. And one of the reasons why is going to go down to my next reason why I used a stopwatch. Because in a day where we are trying to tackle all of our procrastination, and we're trying to take care and focus on doing what we need to do, we want to make sure that we have adequate time, right? So sometimes you can't work through and feel burnt out or something like that. So why not try to work 1 power hour and then take a 10-minute break and get up, shake out the cobwebs, and get the blood circulating. And then after the 10 minutes is over, go back and do this in time intervals where you're able to focus for a specific time frame. Even if it's 30 minutes, even if it's an hour, just make sure you have enough time to take a 5-minute or 10-minute break, and you'll be surprised at what you will accomplish and how much you are able to accomplish. Now, one of the things that I've learned that was one of my biggest pet peeves was distractions. I had distractions coming in from everywhere, especially my smartphone. If it wasn't family members, it was the smartphone. Hearing the dings and hearing, I'm seeing somebody on Facebook. Oh, I haven't seen them in years. And all of a sudden, time flies, right? So you just realize after you looked up from the phone, a whole 15 minutes, 20 minutes passed by. You burnt 20 minutes. So my thing is eliminate the distractions when you're trying to eliminate your procrastination and focus on a job at hand or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Make sure that you eliminate your distractions. Identify what that distraction might be, remove that distraction, and then definitely focus on what you need to finish, right? So that's what you have to work on. I know I did. And once I took away the phone for that power hour or 30 minutes, I got a lot done. So you're going to have to find what really works for you. And you know what? I've also had somebody tell me about what happens if you get an emergency phone call. And I get it. If you have kids, that's a different story. I get it. I once believed this because my wife, when she was alive, she used to ask me, why do you turn your phone off at night? I says, because there's nothing I can do for anybody if I am incoherent from lack of sleep. I will be more able to help somebody if I am fully rested. So I want to get my 8 hours of sleep. And then if there is an emergency, I'll see it in the morning when after I've fully rested. And that is one of the reasons why I shut my phone off at night, or put it on silent, because I don't really shut it off no more because of my alarm. So my alarm, even with my phone on silent, my alarm will still ring. So these are things that you can do, right? So they have apps, they have all kind of things that you can get to help utilize your productivity, like task managers and calendars, and people are all aware of that stuff. So I really don't need to mention that. But the biggest key in breaking through your procrastination is you have to practice self-discipline. You have to cultivate habits of self control and commitment. You have to be committed to yourself and your own self discipline that helps build your resilience and a way for you to get through your procrastination. So you got to think about that. You want to make sure that you can get past and overcome your procrastination. You definitely need a little bit of self discipline, or in my case, it was a lot of self-discipline. I actually had to overhaul my self-discipline and really work on it. So if you were like me, you might have to do the same thing. And then you have to be motivated. You have to find whatever it is that helps motivate you to continue to move forward, completing your task on time and with a purpose and with dedication. And guess what? With ethics. You got to have that ethical standard for yourself and say, hey, you know what? I'm taking pride in what I'm doing. I have to do this not for them, but for me. So you want to make sure that you deal with all of that in your procrastination. I could barely get that word out. I need to have something to drink, to be honest with you, because I've been talking for almost a half hour now, and my throat and my mouth is getting completely dry. Well, here's one more thing I want you to think about. When you're procrastinating, you're also envisioning doing that job that you don't feel like doing. But why don't you just reverse that and visualize you finishing the job that all of a sudden you'd never really wanted to do. Visualize you completing it. Visualize you being successful. Even if it's the laundry or cleaning the house, visualize the house spotless. Visualize your reports being done on time, looking real good, and visualize your boss being appreciative. Hey, I'm telling you something. These things work. You just have to work it. You have to figure out what works for you. And it's not about seeking accountability from anybody else or praise from anybody else. It's about self-accountability. It's about saying, this is for me. I'm doing this for me. I'm going to eliminate procrastinating. I'm going to take my health, my life to a new level. And I'm not going to procrastinate anymore. But everything falls into this whole procrastination, and you may not even see it. When you procrastinate and you do it constantly, you're constantly procrastinating about just about anything. But when you start to focus and say, I'm going to be the type of person to get things done in a timely fashion. And I'm not saying, be one of those strict that live by the calendar only. No, I'm talking about having an ethical standard for yourself to say, you know what, I got a job to do it. I want to make sure I do it to the best of my ability. And I want to make sure that I'm accountable for all my actions. And I want to make sure that I do a good job, not for them, but for me, because it's all about you becoming better in releasing or letting go that procrastination. You're becoming a better person. You'll find that you're able to tackle more difficult tasks, and you're able to start your day with challenging tasks, and you're able to finish your day with a completion and with a satisfaction, knowing that you have a heck of a day, but guess what? You were able to handle it with grace. This is for you. It's not for anybody else. So stay organized, reward yourself when the time comes, and like I said, don't procrastinate when it comes to your health. And I say that to a lot of people because if you work hard on your job, I got it. Hey, more power to you. But I rather you work harder on yourself than you do for someone else. Because let's face it, you can work hard on your job, but once your body goes, there's not much you're going to be able to do. And if you don't take care of your mind, guess what? Somebody's gonna wind up taking care of you, and 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be the state. You're gonna be in a loony bin or something like that. So always take care of your body, spirit, mind. So all those things will take care of you. Hey, my name is Dave. I thank you so much for listening. I hope this was food for thought for you, and I hope you'll look at procrastination in a different light and say, you know what? He's got a point. I procrastinate too much. I just want to get a handle on it, and I just want to get it done. And hey, look, whatever you got to do, make sure that you deal with your procrastinating, because it can really harm your entire life little at a time. And that's just how a person gets overweight. It's not that they gouged out on all the cookies the night before and ice cream and whatever. It was a period over time, and that's how they became overweight. So if you are procrastinating and you are a habitual procrastinator, I would say it just didn't happen yesterday. It happened over a period of time, and who knows how many missed opportunities you completely left behind because you procrastinated. I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it. So my name is Dave. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Be blessed and have a great day. Bye-bye.